Hi everyone, Redneck Computer Geek here. We're doing out a water pump on a 4-cylinder 2.3 1993 Ford Ranger. I'll check and see what years this is good for, and I'll post them down right here. So basically we're going to get to a couple of things and show you how to get your water pump out today. The first of which is you're going to have to drain your radiator. So what I usually recommend in order to do this is one trick. If you've recently put radiator fluid in because you've been having issues with your pump and you know that it's pretty new, the stuff that's in it, what I recommend is one of these. They're standard water jugs that they sell at a lot of different convenience stores. And the reason why I recommend these is the tap on the end. When all you do is take this and cut a hole. And now when you set it in underneath, it drains into the top. When you're done, if it's still good fluid, you set it on the side, open up the tap into your radiator, and there you go. Put it back in. No hassle. So we'll get to that in just a sec. The other thing that I'm going to recommend is that you take a look at this chart. This is your setup when you're doing this. Here we have your alternator, which you should be able to see over here on this side of the engine bay. AC if you have it, otherwise it's an idler pulley. Power steering, which is right over here. And this is your water pump in the center. It's behind your fan and clutch and your shroud and everything else. So I've taken and I've hung my $300 cell phone up here, and we're going to see if we can get some video of getting down in there. Hopefully I won't get my fat head in the way, and we'll go from there. So first thing we're going to do is drain the radiator, and then I'll show you a trick to getting the tensioner off. Alright, so the first thing is on this side over here underneath this part of the radiator, you'll find that there's a valve that you can open. I'll post a picture, and set your piece that we just opened up in underneath and let her rip. Alright, so once you get it to start draining, then if you take off the radiator cap, that'll help it drain even better. Hear the difference? Now, I didn't undo the top radiator hose because you have to for this repair. I undid it so that hopefully you'll be able to see better when I turn on the upper camera. Okay, the first thing that we definitely need to do is we need to remove these 4 bolts that are on the fan. And you need to do that while the serpentine belt is still on. And these are 10 millimeter. And remember to go around and break them all free first before you start taking them all the way out. That way you don't shear one off. Alright, so the 4 bolts that hold the fan are finally out. They're an absolute pain, and you will probably say profanity that shouldn't be heard by little ears. So now we need to remove the fan shroud, and there's 2 bolts on either side. Leave the fan where it is because you need to break it free at the same time you do the shroud. And they apparently are 8 millimeter. Alright, so now that this is broken free, we should be able to hit the fan a couple of times and have it come loose. Well, actually, you're actually hitting down on the spindle, not the fan itself. And hopefully the whole thing will lift out all at once. It should lift right up, holding the fan on the inside. So we'll wiggle it back and forth a couple of times. And an old timer told me occasionally you have to drive a screwdriver down through the side. So let's try that. And then take a second screwdriver and put it in the other. And screwdriver just broke free, so that should be it. No, not quite. There we go, back and forth a couple of times. So now if you grab it by a blade and you hold it into the center, you should be able to pull out and lift up. Okay. Now I'll teach you a little trick. This is your tensioner down here. And normally, the way that they want you to do it is a regular ratchet put in here, which you can reach when the fan blade isn't in. But what I will teach you is that if you take an adjustable like this and you open it up, you can slide it over the end, and even when the fan is in place, if you have to, you can pull this. It's much easier with this, but if you need to change a serpentine belt, this will work. Alright, so at this point, when you're looking down here, you should be able to see the pump. It's mounted right here, and it's sitting basically like this. So now what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to reach in and undo the clamp that's on this, and undo the clamp that's on here. Alright, so another 5-second tip I'd like to give you is that the pump is sitting like this. If your hose is stuck on this lower piece, if you take a screwdriver and you put it in at an angle and then come around and then back around on the other side, you can then start to wedge it down in and be able to break it free and give it a tug from the bottom. So last on our trip into hell, we have 1, 2, 3 bolts that you'll see down there, and they're 13 millimeter. And then after that we have it off, and then you put it back together the opposite way. Don't forget to go and put your gasket on. Have fun.